We're finally here. It's January. We are officially in the Paramount era. So it's no surprise, everyone knows by now, the UFC signed a $7.7 billion media rights deal with Paramount. We go from having $80 pay-per-views to subscriptions that are $12 a month. We can watch all these fights now for $120. At its face value, it's great, right? For the consumer, it's great. Today, we're going to be discussing how it could potentially be bad. I'm on the side of it being, I'm a little bit questionable when it comes to this deal. Sam, he's a cheap guy, if you guys don't know. Sam, he can save it. He's like Mr. Krabs reincarnated. This dude would save any dollar if he could. Sam is actually envious of the Great Depression. He's like, man, people really saved a lot of money back then. Hey, yo, not me. I'm a little bit more cautious. We're going to be discussing, is the UFC Paramount deal good or bad? Let's jump into it.
All right, first off, I'm going to sue you for slander. Okay? I'm not that penny pinching. You're crazy.
Yeah, you are.
I think it's cool for the fans. Obviously, for the fans, this is looking great for us, It's like, it's much cheaper. Rather than paying $1,200,
yeah.
or
close.
$1,100, around something crazy, all right? Yeah. Now we're just doing $120.
Wait, are you saying, so you were paying that beforehand?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were wearing a Stream East shirt under that.
Oh, no.
You're on the side of it being good for the fans just because it's cheaper.
Yes.
Okay. For me, like I said, that's good, right? Obviously, we want cheaper pay-per-views. We want to be able to watch these legally, like we've been doing, right? Legally. Okay, so aside from it being cheaper, why is it good for the UFC?
Because it's a broader audience. We can go, Paramount has a lot of people watching. Yep. And, a lot of like grandmas and grandpas are going to be like, oh, the UFC, let me click on that. And they'll watch it and they'll have fun because there's some good fights, some boring ones,
Paramount has an audience of younger people too. So I think that's going to be good for the future of the sport. You know what I mean? Because people are going to get into it who've never been into it before. But I think we're going to get a worse product. I think that they're going to have to just put any fights together to make TKO happy, put any fights together to make the stockholders happy, TKO. We're seeing that a little bit with Justin Gaethje and Patty. I think that's actually a good example. You could even go Volk and Diego Lopez. Because that fight didn't get remade.
No, hell no. Okay, I'll give you those examples. So far, the first two, man.
So we have those two fights, but even go a little bit further. Think about another fight they're trying to make. Islam versus Kamaru. Like, is that the best versus the best?
Absolutely not. I mean, these little mini fights that are still to eat, I hope they just get them out the way and then we get some actual good fights. I
think the fighters are actually going to get the short end of the stick, right? Because, okay, think of it like this, right? $7.7 billion deal. They're going to make way more money, right? It's cheaper for the fans. It's like a win-win. Now we look at the fighters. Do you think the profit's going to go to the fighters, or do you think it's going to go to TKO and the people who own the powers that be?
Listen, Dana White's such a generous man,
Stop. There's dudes making 10 and 10, 20 and 20, 30 and 30. There's no shot.
Anyways, so I was really interrupted. Dana's going to be very generous. He's going to spread the wealth.
UFC shill. This dude you'll do backflips for Dana, huh? You'll do backflips on Dana.
I think some of it will go to them. And I hope that the bonuses go up to 100K at least. At least.
That's a good one.
There is no excuse.
That's a good one.
If Dana White doesn't give him 100K bonuses after this big deal, then I'm going to be like, okay, come on, man. At this rate.
That would never happen. Bro would be like, all right, you know what? We got a $7.7 billion deal. We'll give you $54K.
Damn, son.
And it's like, come on, bro. I just think that's what's going to happen, bro. Like, they asked him at one of the post-fight press conferences, hey, Dana, what's going to happen? What's the new model looking like? Because pay-per-view's gone. He's like, oh, well, we're still figuring that out. And they're like, okay, cool. Will you have it done by the new year? Probably. I'm like, this is some fighters be all end all. And he's like, he's like very nonchalant about it. And that's how it is. That's how it is in the business world. So, I'm not like, this is a shocker. And again, as a fan, I'm very excited. But it's clearly going to be bad for the fighters, especially those who are stars, bro. Think of it like this. You have people like Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, the people, Islam even, the people who draw names in, Conor McGregor. The UFC used to be a star-studded company. Now, not so much, so maybe it makes sense they're transitioning this way. But those who still bring in names, are they going to make less money now that they're not getting a piece of the pie? GSP even said it. I was watching an interview as to like why this deal is good and bad for the UFC, and GSP had an interesting point. When he started off and he wanted to get this thing going, they were like, hey, GSP, do all this promo. He's like, hey, I don't mind doing the promo. I'm a company man. I'm like, Sam, I'm a UFC shill. But he's like, we need to get money. I want to become a partner on a piece of the cake. So he was able to leverage his popularity, leverage his ability in the ring, and he got a fat stack. I think we're going to see less of that because the UFC doesn't need all of those fighters anymore. Like, obviously, they still need them, right? Without the fighters, UFC's nothing. But hey, we could lose a Chama. We could lose a Max Holloway. The company's, it's so big now, it's gonna go. Back in the day, even like 2016, 17, you lose Conor McGregor, like, whoa, you just lost a major piece. Now we don't have a Conor McGregor, so the UFC feels like, hey, we can just go ahead and get more money for us. And that's one of my biggest worries.
People will get more exposure to this. So there'll be even bigger stars, hopefully. I don't know if they'll be Conor big. Maybe one day they will be, maybe 10 years down the line or something. Yeah. But slowly there'll be bigger names, we'll get bigger guys there. And, hopefully they can get some leverage in there. Because if they're not fighting, the views are going to drop hard.
I guess it can't get much worse for the people who are making 10-10. Like, there's no shot the UFC's like, all right, you're making 5-5, kid. I think they're going to make more money as a whole, but I think the product will suffer. Like, ignore Justin Gaethje, ignore what we're talking about for the January fights. I think we're going to get more Mickey Mouse products. The UFC's going to be like, okay, we have to do a pay-per-view a month. We have to do a big card with the title shot. And I feel like we're just getting way, not as good as a product. They're going to just throw anything out there, stuff that we don't necessarily want to see. And it's going to be like, bro, as a fan, come January, the White House card happened. We're like, wow, now I have Mackenzie Dern, right? Fighting Sam at this point. The UFC's like, we'll put anybody in there.
Well, March is looking pretty good so far for March. At least for now, because, we're going to get Max Holloway against Charles Oliveira. That's fire. And then before that, we have the Houston Fight Night, and that's looking pretty good too.
I just think there's going to be more pressure from Paramount to the UFC to say, hey, we need to maintain a level of championship fights. So whether or not it's going to be good championship fights or they're just going to put anything out there, maybe this makes fighters more active, right? Maybe champions need to be more active for the Paramount deal. I just think with the White House card, and a lot of those fighters aren't even fighting at the White House card. Are you seeing all the reports that are coming out? Like, Chama's not fighting. Obviously, Tom's not fighting. Connor's probably not fighting. John Jones isn't fighting.
I put more bet on Connor fighting.
What about that one?
Oh, hell no. Get that man out of here. We're done with him, all right? We're done. The UFC is moving past this guy. It's over.
Now it's going to be hard for us to even determine how hot somebody is. Back in the day, Ilia Topuria goes out there, Conor McGregor goes out there, 1.2, 1.1, 900K, right? We're able to see and measure how famous or how hot somebody is based off of the pay-per-views. Now is it going to be like streams? But you can be like, yeah, sure, how many streams? How many people tune in? It's going to be diluted because the UFC Paramount deal, people are going to go just for it being a new thing. I know you're going to watch it on Paramount when you're not going to use Stream East anymore.
First off, that's not true.
Get this, man. Actually, yeah, let's get him out of here. I could use a new partner. Let's go. Point being, there's not a way for them to measure that. It's going to take a couple months for them to do that. And again, I think that's just more time for Dana White to be like, oh yeah, we're still working it out. You guys will get money. So the people at the top, I think, are going to get more money. Probably, maybe the same. But the people in the bottom, they're not going to get less than 5-5. Obviously, that would be heinous. It's people in the middle who are like average, who are making that, 50, 60, 70, 100K a year. I think they're going to stay there. And I think, okay, they're making the same amount of money, but the UFC as a product is significantly bigger, bro. And to me, that's a problem.
I think some of the fighters in that category actually are going to want to start fighting more because they're going to realize these guys at the top are making so much. Man, if I get just some consistency and I start fighting more, I can be those guys. It'll push them to be better, more exciting fights, not grapple, bore fests.
Again, at its face value, now we have to pay $120 versus versus $1,100. We get a good product as far as being able to watch without any lags. I don't know why I would lag before, because I never streamed anything. Maybe he did. I see know what to do. So I'm happy for the deal. As a consumer, we're up. Like, we are up. Yes. I'm going to be able to, instead of buying all the pay-per-views, I'm going to get new lights in here. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff in here. But nevertheless, I think the fighters are going to get cooked because it's a company. The company's trying to make money. I don't think they're going to share that money to the fighters. And that's just the way it is. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Is this deal good for everybody? Is it bad for everybody? Is it good for the UFC? Not the fighters? Let us know. We're somewhere in the middle. We're definitely excited for this deal. Hopefully, it grows the UFC, and we're able to see all of that. So, my name's Angel. That's Sam. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.